Welcome back, everybody. Gonna try something a little bit different today. We're going over some personal finances, but today we're gonna go over a very specific real life scenario. We got Chad here who's wanting to invest, and we're gonna go over his situation and discuss what we can do to get him in a better situation to achieve some financial goals. If you like this video, hit subscribe and like. Let me know in the comments below if you want to do more of these types of videos. If you have specific scenarios you want to go over, whether it's your own scenario or a hypothetical one, we can do that as well. So what else do we know about Chad? We know that he makes $55,000 a year. Not bad. I'm guessing he didn't study English. Probably studied something in STEM, something in business, science, something like that. So he's making decent money right out of college. That's great. His company offers a 401k program, which is a retirement program, and they are offering a match, which is something you absolutely need to do. Now, what is a 401k? A 401k is a retirement program that's sponsored by your employer. Now, if you work for the government or you work for nonprofits, they're going to be called something different, a 401b or whatever. If you live in Australia, they're called supers. It's all the same thing. It's a retirement program that allows you to take money now, put it away, and you can't access it until you're retired. But there's some advantages to doing so, some tax advantages, so your money can grow faster, and you can have a lot of money saved for retirement. So it's a retirement plan. And his company offers a dollar for dollar up to 4% match. Pretty decent. So what that means is for every dollar he invests, his company invests another dollar, which means that's number one. When it comes to investing and saving, you got to take advantage of your employer match, because that's just straight up free money, right? That's just an automatic 4% raise that he gets if he contributes to his 401k. So he's doing it. He's got a 401k, 4%, and he is matching. So that's great. Take home pay at the end of everything after taxes and whatnot, other withholdings, he's at $3,400 a month. So first things first, we need to go over the basic necessities. I don't know if he's given to charity. He didn't tell me that, but let's hope he is. So if not, you need to start giving to charity. Otherwise, what's the point of making a bunch of money and getting rich if you're not going to help other people out? So we're going to assume he's spending at least a little bit of money here on charity. We'll just say, whatever, $100 a month. Which, if you're making $3,400, you can afford $100 a month to help other people out. We're looking at rent of $1,500 a month. That does include all utilities, so it's a little steep. I'm sure he's living by himself, probably in the city. So, yeah, it's a little higher. At least it covers everything. Obviously, if you got a roommate, you could save some money there, but he doesn't. So we're at $1,500 a month, which is about here. So $1,500 in rent. He's got another $70 a month for his phone. Let's draw that here. Phone. 70. Guess those numbers should have been swapped. Whatever. Charity. And then lastly, he has $300 a month for groceries. So. All right. So he's already used over half of his money just for the basic necessities. So now we're going to look at Chad's debt that he has every month. So he doesn't have a lot of different places of debt, only two main areas, but it is a pretty decent dollar amount. So he's got a pretty sweet truck that he drives. It's about a $30,000 vehicle. He's got 4 years left on his loan. It was about $21,000 on it. He bought it for himself for graduation. Nice little graduation gift. Congratulations. You just strapped yourself with a nice $450 payment a month. So that's his truck at $450, and with gas and insurance, so they're looking at another $250, $100 a month for insurance, another $150 for gas. So insurance, gas, $250. So just to drive, he's spending $700 a month. That's not including, any type of maintenance. That's not including car registration, oil changes, whatever. So that's pretty hefty. That stands out to me. We'll circle back to that later. And then lastly, he has student loans. He's got about $32,000 in student debt. I don't know what that is, if that's above average or below average. It's a pretty decent amount, but it is what it is. He's got $360 a month in his payments there. So student loans, $360. I don't know if you can read that. It's pretty small. So we total all this up. For basic living necessities, place to live, food in the car, paying a little bit of charity, he's looking at $1,970 a month. for his car, insurance, gas, student loans, so his debt payments, and then gas and insurance, we're looking at $1,060. So overall, he's spending $3,030 a month. As you can see, there's not much wiggle room. That's the first thing that stands out to me. So yeah, you have $5,000 savings, which is great. I don't think we wrote that down, so we got $5,000 saved. Cash. Okay, so that's good. And he's looking to invest. So the reason he reached out to me is saying, hey, 2020 is going on. I've got a good, secure job. I feel very comfortable right now. I have a little bit of cash saved. I want to start investing more than just my 401k. I think now's a good time. I'm hoping with the downturn in the market that if I can park this money for a few years, I can get some good returns back. Not bad logic there, right? We usually see when you invest during bear markets, that's a good time to make money in the long run, depending on how he's doing his investments. I'm not going to dive too deep into that. Overall, right now, in my opinion, you're not ready to invest. There's just not enough wiggle room here. I mean, there's only $300, 400, 370. So there's $400 left at the end of every month. Not enough money. So we got too much debt that we need to get down before we can really worry about jumping into investing. So unfortunately for Chad, this is not a good time to invest. You want to live in the city, you want to live by yourself, you want to drive a sweet truck, you do all those things, you don't have enough wiggle room to invest. So again, something that stands out to me right away is the fact that we're spending $700 a month just to drive. Again, that doesn't include registration, that doesn't include maintenance, oil changes, tire rotations, whatever else you gotta do in case there's any breakdowns. It's a newer truck. I doubt there's gonna be any major repairs, so that's good in the foreseeable future. But unfortunately, $700 a month is way too much to be driving. So that's what we got his little truck here. You can see he's driving, looking sweet, but he's got lots of dollar bills just floating out the back of his truck. Other big thing that stands out to me is the $32,000 in debt. Now, $360 a month, yeah, that's manageable, no question. It's about 10% of his take-home pay, so he can handle the payment. But the fact that you have 32 grand in student loans, that's what we got to start tackling before we want to really get serious in investing. Now, some people have different philosophies on what you need to do as far as debt and leverage and investing. Some people say, hey, if your rates are below 5%, stay leveraged, make your minimum payments, you'll pay off all your loans eventually and pay your extra towards debt. In my mind, it's a little too risky. I don't like to do that. Depends on what the debt is. It's not just about the rate. It's about what kind of debt we have, because that's a behavior problem we could have on the horizon here. So we're going to dive a little deeper into that. This might be more complicated than is it below or above 5%. Because my guess is student loans, 4%, auto loan, 3%. We're probably below the 5% threshold on both those items. But realistically, I don't think we should be investing when we have $21,000 in a truck payment. Right, in truck debt. That to me says we got to get our consumption down before we're ready to invest for the long run. So the student loans, it's huge, it's a big amount, but if you want to start investing before you pay off your student debts, I get that because they're so long term and they're lower interest rates, you're going to deal with it. The truck, on the other hand, that's really risky because if your truck breaks down or you get in a crash and you got to replace it, there's a lot of issues that can go on. The fact of the matter is, it's an expensive liability that you're driving around, and it's really risky in my mind. Even though the interest rate is probably around 3%, it's too risky to be investing when you have $21,000. So your take-home pay is probably $3,400 a month. So we're looking at what, 37 grand a year. So if you take your take-home pay in a year and half of it you have in debt for your car, that's too much in my mind. So we got to get that done before we can start paying off debt. Before we can start investing. The other big item here is your living expense. You're living in the city, you're living by yourself, you got a sweet apartment, you got all your utilities paid for, which is nice and convenient, but $1,500, that's too much. Charity, that's good. Again, we're making some assumptions there. Maybe you give more, I'm not sure. Groceries, $300 a month, that's pretty conservative. That means you're probably not going out to eat a lot. Spending $300 a month, you're not eating fancy, that's fine. It's the $1,500 here that we need to cut down. If you just get a roommate, we can cut this in half. And there it is, there's another $700. Right now we have an extra $300 at the end of the month, right? We're only looking at $300. You get yourself a roommate, you cut that in half, get yourself another $700. We're up to $1,000. Just like that, we are tripling your take-home pay that you have extra at the end of each month. So I'd say if we can cut this in half, get this down to 700, put the other 800 over here. We're now at $1,100 at the end of the month. That's a much better number. That's where you can start really tackling debt, get yourself a nice cushion. Now you have a cash cushion. I would leave that as cash. I wouldn't invest that in anything. Maybe if you want to do some short-term bonds or maybe some CDs, you could put half of that in there. I'd leave at least a couple grand in literal cash just right in your savings account. Probably all 5K I'd just leave in there. Not a big deal. You're not going to get much back on $3,000 in a CD at 2%. So just having that cushion, that emergency fund, really good. Good for you. I like that. I would leave that exactly where it is. One thing we could do if you really wanted to get aggressive and tackle this, sell your car for $25K, pocket $4,000, buy yourself a little $4,000 sedan, used, decent, shouldn't be too old, should get you a long way, get yourself a little Corolla, a little Civic, whatever, and you're good to go. You can now relax and get rid of all of that debt, and you have another $450. So if we did that, I'm going to put this in red because I don't think we're actually going to do it, but if you want to do that, we could get another $450 a month because we would have no car payment at all, right? We're just done with that. Car payment, not a thing anymore. So that's another $450. We're now looking at $1,550 every single month that you would have at the end. So that's almost half of your take-home pay. So you can see we can go from $300 with these couple of items, get yourself a roommate, get rid of your truck, you're at $1,550 a month. If you're not going to do that, we're still at $1,100 a month. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. You can really start tackling that truck payment. You could double your truck payment every month and get rid of it. So then rather than get rid of that in 5 years, you get rid of it in 2 to 3 years. You know what? Let's do a little more. Let's put $550, $600 a month. You're getting rid of that thing in 2 years. Then you can start saying, hey, all right, I don't have any more debt. That's maybe consumer debt. Obviously, I still have my student loans that I'm tackling. I'm going to do the full 10 years on that. I don't want to be aggressive on that. Okay, you don't want to. That's fine. We'll leave that as is. But now that you're done with your truck, in 2 years from now you're ready to go. Now you're ready to say, hey, I don't have any truck payments. I want to invest now. Or because you don't have anything major other than your student loans and your truck, again, if you don't want to wait 2 years, you don't have to, right? You don't have to. You can start investing right now, all that extra money a month, if you're willing to drive a sedan, if you're willing to get rid of this, right? So again, it's all about why you want the truck in the first place. Do you want it to look cool? Maybe you use your truck on a regular basis. I don't know what you do for fun. Maybe you go in the mountains a lot. Maybe you're driving a boat or you're driving a trailer for some reason. Yeah, he didn't say he owned a boat, so I don't think he does. But whatever he does with his truck, if he really doesn't want to get rid of it, you're 2 years out from investing with our plan, as long as you get yourself a roommate. Which I think that's reasonable. That's the first thing that's saying, hey, we can absolutely cut that down and get yourself a roommate, cut that in half. So overall, we're in a decent situation. The spending is too high in my mind, for sure. The fact of the matter is, you do have some cash savings. You do have a decent salary. You're matching your 401k, that automatic 4% raise you're just getting for free from your employer. And you said you have a nice, safe, secure job. So overall, decent situation we're in, especially in 2020. A lot of people would be very envious of your situation, so definitely be grateful. Again, make sure you're focusing here, making sure you are giving to charity, making sure you're helping other people out. You cut this here with no raises, no changes, nothing else. You're 2 years away from paying off your truck, 2 years away from starting to invest. If you don't want to wait 2 years, we know the solution. That's the problem, right? We know the truck is the issue. We can jump on it now. I'd say, Chad, you're in a pretty good situation. We know where you can cut, and you can get ahead. So stay safe. We'll see you next time.